Hello, my beautiful friends. I'm your host, Leah Cari.
And I'm Cari Kenzie. Welcome to Shift Happens. Discover the leader within. This podcast is designed to disrupt the way you live, lead, and love. At Shift, we challenge traditional narratives and believe that inner wisdom is the key to every decision.
Are you ready to explore a new paradigm of both living and leading? We'll dive deep into our innate strengths as women: compassion, curiosity, intuition, grace, vulnerability, and love. The shift, it's about to get real. Rediscover the power within and transform your life. Stay tuned. It all starts now.
Hello, my dear friends. It is so good to be here again. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining Leah and I for another amazing conversation. Integrity. Such a buzzword, right? And I'm sure it sits on how many different core value boards in organizations across the world. And it probably somewhere sits on a list of your own core values. Integrity is, I would say, probably one of the top things that I hear from leaders or that I hear in organizations that is a value. But here's what I want to say about integrity. It is plaguing humanity in a way of a complete twist of a word. I believe that we have lost the true meaning of integrity. I believe that we look for integrity outside of self. When we put integrity on a board, we think that the value is integrity, and I want to ensure that everybody is integrous. And not always look at the internal of integrity. But the truth is, sometimes it's hard. Integrity is sometimes hard to hold. And it's hard to hold when emotions, when identity, when scarcity get in the way. And these are all paths that we are navigating, that we have navigated. And so what I would say is that integrity is not just about being honest. It's not. Integrity is being unshakable in who you are. Unshakable when no one's watching. And I know we've heard this before, and I know it's like this cliche thing that your grandma probably said, right? Character is who you are, integrity is who you are when nobody's watching and you're at home and you're by yourself. A lot of people think that they have integrity until it costs you something. Mm-hmm. Until there's something on the line, you have integrity. Mm-hmm. Okay? But when saying yes to your values means saying no to approval, to convenience, or to comfort, we will very quickly and too easily shift out of integrity. So today, we want to cut through this because we want to talk about what happens when integrity isn't just an idea, it is a serious non-negotiable, and what it really costs you when you stand firm, okay? And what it's costing you when you don't, because that's the more important thing, okay? Because really, you guys, today, probably one of the most rebellious things that we get to do, and you know me, I love a good rebel, and I love a good non-rule follower. It's to be integrous. So that's what I want us to dive into today. And Leah, was going to be a big one. We knew that us tackling integrity was going to be big, right? Yeah. There's so much weight that sits around this and so much expectation of it. We aren't necessarily living in it. I don't know. What would you say?
Oh my gosh. Like we've been saying all week, like how much time do we have for this today?
No.
And again, it might be one of those that's a part 2, part 3, a part 52, like
Right.
every week for the rest of the year.
Oh man.
Because before we actually dive into the conversation, it is a conversation, and they might not label it integrity, but it is a conversation that I hear client after client after client. Somebody doesn't call them back. A team
Yes.
member completely ghosts, leaves,
Yes.
doesn't even like people are not
Mm.
obeying their own word. Not
Yes.
it used to be, right? This is the thing. It used to be we were very good at being integrous with everyone else. Like we wouldn't ever
Yes.
let them down. Okay. We let ourselves down all day long, like not obeying our word, not getting up when we want to go to the gym, not going to bed when we know we probably could, and prioritize that, and maybe eat a little better and make sure we drink enough water and all of those things, right?
Yeah.
Like easy all day long to not obey ourselves, right?
Yes.
But we would for sure obey other humans. Like we wouldn't like leave them stranded at a coffee shop and not show up.
Mhm.
And now it's like it doesn't even matter. Like at least we had that going for us, right? Like we knew that we could be integrity driven when it was tied to performance, when it
Yes.
was tied to our own likability, when our reputation outside of us was on the line.
Mhm.
But now it's almost like we don't care. Like it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter that we don't follow through on what we said. I'm going to give you this in exchange for this, and I'm going to give it to you. I had a practice that paid money up front, 15 grand to get a website. The developer ghosted them. I had another organization where they had a team member just walk out. No notice, no nothing. Left for lunch, never returned. Not a call, not a nothing. Even in the outreach, nothing. Like,
Mhm.
what is happening? What is happening? I used to think that in honoring everyone else outside of ourselves, that was just really good people pleasing. That was really good, just
Yes.
accommodating others for our own likability and trying to manipulate outside of ourselves so people thought that we were more awesome than we might believe that we are. But now what? Now what is it?
Well, so what I find interesting, and we talk about this too, because as you just pulled out there, that's false integrity, love. That's just not even integrity, right? It's false integrity. We thought, but you're right. It's just I'm meeting somebody else's expectation. That's all it was.
Mhm.
Um, could there have been a little integrity in there? Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, sure. Except for if you can't hold it within yourself, you can't hold it it's not a true integrity. That makes sense. Like there has to be a
Absolutely.
connection. There has to be a line. So I think you nailed it right there. Like it was a false integrity. And it was a false integrity because it was tied to how you looked. It was tied to how they perceived you, how well you were loved, how much value somebody else saw you as, right? You would sacrifice yourself all day long in integrity of somebody else. It's like in somebody else's definition of integrity,
Mhm.
but not within your own.
Mhm.
It's so interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. So the conversation back, right,
Mhm.
is okay. So let's just assume, right, and we're going to for this conversation
Mhm.
that we tried to show up being what we thought was integrous, right? Whether it's a value or it's on our board, or we were just more concerned about how other people perceived us to be. Okay. And we did that up to a certain extent, to the extent that we didn't even recognize who we are anymore,
Mhm.
because we were consistently trying
Yep.
to gain the pleasure of outside of ourselves.
Yep.
And so that breach of alignment with self, that breach of trust in oneself to to have somebody else's concerns in mind over the concerns of self, to care more about what matters to others versus what matters to them. Is that just a complete disconnect of self to the point where there's just no bother to consider?
You know, it's interesting what came to me right when you immediately started talking and you started pulling that in. And, you know, we had said it was false integrity. It's not false integrity, it's manipulation. That's what it is. It's manipulation, right? Because there really is no integrity that sits within that. If you don't have that aligns within self. So I think you're 100% right in that. Right? Of like, I don't know. This one I think is, I'm so fascinated. I'm so fascinated by this underliner, by this this value that has been so twisted and so manipulated to create manipulation. That's where I'm like, I'm almost stumped here for a second because I'm going, Leah, this is just the way that you said that really flipped that word for me in a completely different way. That then lines out and it shakes down that integrity to a place of, well, then what the heck is integrity?
Right.
Right? What is integrity? And if that's a value that we are putting on in our core values, if that is a value that we've got up on our walls, what does that mean? How do you show up with integrity? Because I tell you, it's beyond showing up in commitment. It's beyond showing up because I said I was going to be there for you. Right? And I take it back to, it is integrity is showing up solidly in the truth of who you are, in complete alignment with who it is that you are. So then we have the ability to, let's say in the situation of the employee, I'm unhappy, I'm misaligned in the position that you have me placed in the organization. If I am truly integrous, if I am integrous, I am not going to allow myself sounds like a tough word, but it is going to be so incredibly out of my comfort to walk out and not say anything. Because that's not integrous of me.
Yeah. Right. And so then if we're just talking about integrity breaches all over the place, then, right? Like, so we've got this employee, we go back to that example, that just walked out and never came back. Okay. Yes. Was there an opportunity for her to be like, what is it that I need? And to be able to communicate that as the preferred way of honoring herself as opposed to ghosting the situation. And where is it that there was perhaps an integrity breach of the owner, the founder, the executive, of not allowing for there to be a space safe for that employee to share her disappointment, her frustrations, her concern for the job. And that employee then chose in that moment of decision that it was easier to just leave than to have the conversation. And we can blame said employee all day long for such violation. But at the end of the day, who's responsible for mission? Who's responsible for the outcome? Right?
Yeah. So then that brings up such a brilliant point, because when we look at mission and we look at outcome and the integrity that lies within that, sometimes that is the hardest integrity to hold. And even within self, right? Because we are our own mission. We are our own effort.
Write that down.
You're your own mission. Okay. So when we look at that at the end of the day, and you have to hold integrity to that, there has to be a continuous alignment within that. And sometimes the decisions are difficult to make and ensure alignment within mission of self, alignment within mission of the organization, right? Because that's where, and we've seen organizations do this, I've seen organizations do it, we bend the morals, we bend the integrity, right? For profit, for comfort, right?
Yes.
That's where we start to bend things.
Yeah.
Approval, I need your approval. So I'm going to bend my morals. I'm going to bend my integrity in order to receive that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the hardest decisions that we have to make are the decisions to contain and hold the alignment. And in that decision, sometimes to find the integrity of that alignment, right? So this kind of came up when I was talking to you about an organization that we're working with building modern culture in, right?
Yeah.
And how there was a situation that had come up that really questioned her. It caused her, one of the gals, to question her alignment, the integrity of the mission based on a decision that she had to make.
Mm-hmm.
There was only one choice in making this decision for her, right? For legal reasons, for whatever the case may be, there was one place that she could make the decision. And so the question back was, how do you hold integrity to the mission in the decision? And so sometimes you have to come back around the decision to find the integrity, right? Because sometimes that integrity is with what needed to be for her.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying here?
Mm-hmm.
How do we wrap ourselves back around to understand that integrity in the decision? So I'm thinking about even that organization that you're talking about, right? Like the staff member and the practice owner, okay? Decision was made. And maybe for her, that was the most integrous decision that she could make, or that was the only decision she felt safe making, which is the same with this other gal. That was the safe, it had to be decision. That was the safe decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you make that decision, then how do you come back around, or do you ever? That's the question. Do you come back around and go, where was I holding integrity of myself, or was I holding integrity? Because I think it can go both ways. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do, for sure. And I think, I think, and what kept coming up is an experience or situation that we've kind of talked to, for me personally this week. And because integrity is the conversation that we're having today, and because it's important in who we are, in our character and our commitment, and to modern culture, when our integrity gets questioned, right, it can spin us for a loop. And I've had to sit with this for quite some time. I thought I had resolved it. There was a consideration, or I'll just call it a question, about whether or not what I wrote, the copy that I had wrote, was from the heart. If it seemed more robotic. It didn't seem, it didn't seem in love. Now, that, right, for me, immediately, of course, shut me down. It allowed me to get to justify, to defend, to explain, and like in my mind, like, you can imagine all of these thoughts, like the audacity to question, blah blah blah, right? And I had to do my own work, and I worked with Cari on some things, and what I came up with today, and it was today, friends, like, this isn't just, right, it came up today, is this: I can either look at that situation as a, how dare you, how do you not know that I'm incredibly intentional, not perfect, but incredibly intentional with the copy that I put forward. Yeah. I meditate on it. I pray on it. I breathe tremendous love. I get it mom checked, God checked, all the checks, right? To ensure, like, I could look at that way. And that would be one way to look at it. And that's the way that I looked at it. And I didn't consider another way. And the invitation always in these conversations is there another way? And the answer is always yes. Yeah. There is another way to look at it. And the way that I was able to look at it just this morning, no joke, is, why didn't you look at it from a perspective of potential? Do you really think this team member on your team would have invited you to consider an opportunity to pour more love into it if he didn't think that was a possibility for you?
Well, I just got chills.
Yeah. Yeah. Why didn't you give him that credit for thinking believing in you more than you did in that moment when you wanted to take defense to it, why didn't instead you go, you know what? Wow, you really think I can add more love to this? And use it as an extension. I owe him thanks, not hate. I owe him tremendous gratitude and appreciation for giving and believing that I could actually infuse more love than I did to begin with.
So can I ask you a question? Okay, so now we're just going to banter because you know how sometimes these are how our conversations. So welcome to our regular conversation. Okay. So no, I do. So here's what was coming to me this morning, right? Because I got in a bath, because we've been navigating our stuff. So I got in a bath this morning and I was sitting, and what dropped into me is that there's a difference between possibility and opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between possibility and opportunity. In that, there's a plethora of possibilities, and your mind will take you into a plethora of possibilities. And you guys know, I always joke, it's like there's a possibility of a cardboard box underneath a bridge, right? Mm-hmm. There's possibilities. Mm-hmm. That was a possibility. The fact that he brought forward that conversation, it was possible that he thought, how dare you? What are you, I'm sorry, what the hell are you typing? You know what I mean? You could have taken it all of the ways and all, that's a possibility. But the opportunity will not bring forward those possibilities. Oh, did I feel that? Oh, the opportunity will not bring forward those possibilities.
Oh, man.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes. And so then integrity really then does come down. Could it be this simple? It's integrity of mind. It's integrity of that opportunity. It's holding yourself as the opportunity funnel to look at things as a possibility versus look at things as an attack. What if, yeah, go ahead.
No, you please keep going.
Oh, and what if in all decisions, there was that integrity opportunity to consider that anything that anybody does or says, right, is for your benefit. It's for the greater good of who you are becoming, as opposed to giving it reason to shut you down, shut you up, pull you out of the game, pull you off the field, and bench you. What if it's the opportunity to get you to play in the game with full genius, full motivation, full momentum, the fullness of who it is that you are? And those are the people that we should thank instead of be upset with.
So then is opportunity the integrity and possibility the manipulation? So if you look at that, right? If you look at that and we really want to hold to that integrity aspect, right? And we want to be the person that we know that we have the opportunity to be. That best version, which is why self-help is again, multi-billion-dollar industry, right? Because there's so many individuals efforting to be the best version of who it is that they desire to be. And what if all that is truly needed is a greater awareness, a better understanding, a coming home to the values and to the alignment, to the truth, that real stand fast, hard and fast in the truth of who you are in order to find opportunity? And that's the integrity we've all been looking for, as opposed to possibilities. Well, it's possible, right? It's possible I could get that job. It's possible that my boss could think that. It's possible I could have the conversation with him, right? It's possible. In that possibility, we create manipulation, because possibility is not opportunity. Possibility leaves a gap. Possibility is an expectation. Opportunity is an open door. And in an expectation, we've created an opportunity for disappointment, which is the possibility that you're probably going to get. If that's the possibility, the cardboard box underneath the bridge, then why would you not manipulate integrity, bend the rules of morality for comfort? Why would you not bend the rules of morality for profit? Why would you not bend the rules, right, to people please, so that you feel better at the end of the day, right? So wrapping it back to that gal who had to make that decision, right? Her mission is in allowing individuals to navigate the most beautiful transitions in the end of life with integrity, love, compassion, nurturing. And the opportunity that came, the possibility, let's say that first, the possibility that came forward was in all the ways that it wasn't honoring of that mission because of manipulation that was happening on the other side. When we wrapped it back around to opportunity, alignment was found, integrity was held, mission opened up and said, this is exactly. She was able to see it from a little different perspective. So look at the gift that integrity has to be able to give to you as the person who holds integrity. And by extension, then, the gift and the opportunity that it gives to other people. So good. Thank you, Mama. Felt that one.
Have a beautiful day, friends. Until next time, see you soon.
See you later.
You have been listening to Shift Happens. Discover the leader within with Leah Rowling and Cari Kenzie, where we help you reconnect with your inner leader. Learn to trust your instincts and live with authenticity and confidence.
Tune in every Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time to Shift Happens on Transformation Talk Radio for more insights, inspiration, and actionable strategies to live and lead, not only in purpose, but on purpose. It is time to embrace a life and leadership style that is true to you. For more information, visit shift.life.